Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Thank you all for the massive support I got last video. It's definitely a lot more than I thought I would get. I was surprised how many people watched the video and everything, and I'm glad for everyone who watched it. In this video, I will be playing Valheim, which is kind of another open world game. It's like a survival game where you fight bosses and get materials and upgrade your stuff and everything. It's kind of similar to Minecraft, but it's also a little different, as you'll see. And then along with this, I'm going to be reading some Am I the Asshole stories in the background. And also, just so you know, I am playing with 3 times resource speed in this game just because I played this game probably like 4 or 5 times and I never really got past the beginning. And so I kind of just want to beat the game or at least get back to where I was before. But I also just wanted to restart so I could get a fresh start. But yeah, okay, that's enough of that. Alright, here is the first story. Am I the asshole for not taking out the trash in the apartment I share with my lazy roommates? I live in a 4-bed, 4-bath townhouse with 3 other women. We're all in separate rooms and different leases, so we pay rent individually, which includes most utilities, excluding Wi-Fi and electricity, which I manage. For the first several months, my upstairs neighbor and I were the only ones consistently cleaning common areas. Our 2 downstairs roommates moved in last fall. They mostly kept to themselves. One of them works at home full-time and the other one goes to school online, so she's home 24/7. When they moved in, we all agreed to rotate cleaning duties and even have a chart on the fridge to track whose week it is. I learned fast that they had no plans of cleaning up this shared space. Not once since they moved in have they put in their names down to clean. The worst part of this is that my upstairs roommate and I had a shared vacuum, broom, and mop in the downstairs bathroom that we could all use when we were cleaning, so it's not like we're gonna spend any more money buying anything else. We've had multiple conversations about it with the 2 girls since then, and each time they agreed to do more, but it never really stuck. They wash their own dishes, but that's about it. The trash and the fridge are the biggest issue. If I don't take the trash out, or my upstairs roommate doesn't, it just overflows and gets pushed down by one of the girls downstairs instead of getting replaced. In fact, when I mentioned again, this time in the group chat, our roommate that works from home and is the one that's home the most in response said, well, when someone changes out the trash at night and puts the trash bag outside, I make sure to take it to the dumpster in the morning. This is also the same roommate that chose to ignore her container of food that had become so moldy that it became unidentifiable. I've decided that I don't want to be here anymore, and that if they don't want to be grown adults and responsible, then why should I have to be their mother and constantly tell them to clean up after themselves? I've decided to just take out my own trash from now on. My lease is up at the end of July and I'm over it. Am I the asshole for being petty? We've had so many chats and conversations and it's still not sticking in. So I think in this story, the person whose point of view we're seeing this from is definitely not the asshole, because if you're constantly taking out the trash and you're living with 4 other people who are sharing that trash, I'm assuming, it's definitely gonna get tiring. And I think it's also a responsibility that you should share. And they also talked about how it wasn't just the trash and that it wasn't really clean in the common areas, and that her and the upstairs roommate were the only ones cleaning the common area. And I think especially when you live with roommates and in this situation with 4, you have to everyone has to put in some effort to clean the area. Otherwise, it's just going to be untidy, or it's just not going to no one's going to feel happy about it. So I definitely don't think this person's the asshole, because it's kind of common courtesy for this. I think what happens a lot of the time is that people move out and go into an apartment without fully knowing what they're giving themselves, what they're putting themselves into, because they're used to living at home or they're used to being taken care of by someone else. And so they're not used to doing all these things like cleaning the common area or maybe even just cleaning in general. And so when they move out and they move in with a bunch of roommates, they don't think they have to clean, or they just don't want to, I guess. It's something that everyone kind of has to learn once they first move out, but especially since this person has asked multiple times and their roommates still haven't done anything about it, I definitely think that they're in the right. And I don't know what I would do in this situation. I'd probably get really frustrated because it just seems like a really annoying situation. All right, this is the next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to take my partner to see my mom in the hospital? I, 19F, and my partner, 22NB, which I'm assuming is non-binary, have been dating for a few months now. I moved to New York City last year to go to university after growing up in a heavily Mormon community back in BC. Our relationship is really steady. I've met their parents and we've been living together since the second month of us dating, but I've never really spoken to them about my family, nor have I taken them to meet my parents. I don't really like talking about how I grew up. I don't think my childhood was normal in any sense of the word, and I no longer have contact with my family back in Canada. My mother, 39F, was incredibly controlling and cruel towards me and my sister, 18F and 14F. I remembered through my childhood a lot of women came and went through my house, and my father often had my cousins or aunts stay with us. I cut them off as soon as I moved to New York, and I haven't heard from them since. Until late November of this year, at least. I was on my way home from work when I ended up getting a call from an BC number. I thought initially it was just some kind of spam call or some kind of wrong number situation. It ends up being my sister. For the sake of the story, is named Amelia, calling to tell me that my mom is in the hospital and it's really bad. My mom is one of those Mormons who believes in faith healing and refused to believe in any sort of modern medicine growing up. Apparently, she's been diagnosed with pancreatitis and it's only getting worse because of how long she went without treatment for it. Amelia is begging me to come home. I don't know how she found my phone number or who she got it from, so instead of speaking to her, I just hung up. I go home that night to my partner, and my partner can tell there's something wrong with me, but I don't talk about it for that night. A week goes by, and after a really hard day at work, I end up cracking and telling my partner everything about my mother having pancreatitis. They offer to help to get us plane tickets to get to BC, but I refuse firmly. My partner gets confused, and I refuse to elaborate. I just tell them that we're not going to go see her, especially not during the holidays. This ends up escalating into an argument over me not talking about my family to them and how they feel like I've been secretive about a lot of things in my life. I'm just not comfortable with talking about my home life, but I didn't communicate that well enough. Obviously, it's been a while now since it's now December, but things between us are still really tense and kind of awkward when it comes to my family. So am I the asshole for blowing up on my partner and refusing to take them to go see her in the hospital? Okay, this one I think is a little tricky because I can see why, like, obviously you can see why she wouldn't want to tell her partner about her mother because she doesn't really like her family, I guess, or she just didn't have a good time with her family, growing up especially. But I do think, I don't know exactly what they said to each other, obviously, but I do think she should be a little bit more communicative. I think she should be just upfront and clear to him. Like she doesn't have to tell him what happened in her past or anything like that, but if she hasn't, she should at least tell him like that she just doesn't want to talk about her family. Like, yeah, I guess that's enough because especially in a relationship, like he should or okay, sorry, not he, but her partner should just be able to accept that. Like if she says, "Oh, I don't want to talk about my family," he should just accept that until she's until either she's willing to talk about it or even if she's never willing to talk about it, he should just accept that because that's kind of what a relationship is. You accept the person for who they are, you accept their past, their present, and their future, and everything in between. I do see the partner's view a little bit, but I still kind of think they're kind of the asshole for blowing up about it because it is kind of obvious that she didn't want to talk about her mom or her family and she just didn't want to go to a mother. I do think he's kind of having some resentment for not just this in particular, but other things, and he just blew up because everything was building up. Because she said that he's or he said that her partner's been claiming that she's been really secretive about a lot of things in her life. So I do think it's not just a one-time thing. I think there's been multiple scenarios in the past where her partner has been upset about things, but they just didn't say anything about it, and now this was like the breaking point, and their partner blew up. But I don't think this person is the asshole. I think they're entitled to have like their own life and not have to tell their partner everything until they feel comfortable to, of course. Okay, this is the next story. Am I the asshole for confronting my girl when I realized she took credit for something she didn't really do? So a couple days ago, my girl and I were celebrating, and she told me she made chocolates as a gift. She was super excited about it, saying she spent hours on them. She works a little waitress job, so she doesn't have a ton of money, so I didn't mind her cheaping out a bit compared to what I got her. I thought it was sweet and that she tried. I didn't even know she knew how to make sweets and stuff because she always says she can barely cook. Anyways, I asked her how she learned how to make it, and it turns out she just melted pre-made chocolate and poured it into molds. She didn't even make any of the fillings herself either. She bought store-bought caramel and fruit spread and stuff. Literally all of it was pre-made. She barely put any effort into it, and she was all proud of herself. Usually I try to let things go because she's so sensitive to criticism, but it really just irritated me that she tricked me like that, so I called her out on lying about it. She got upset and said she did make them because she put in so much effort. Halfway through arguing with me about if it's okay to lie to me or not, she just starts texting someone and saying she doesn't want to argue anymore. She ended up getting her sister to come pick her up and said she's been hanging out with her instead of me for the past few days. Her sister called me a dick on her way out too, which kind of makes me think my girl lied to her also about making them. Otherwise, I don't know why she'd be mad at me. At first, I was really sure that I was right, but maybe I need to be more forgiving of it. Like at the end of the day, I know she's not a great cook, so maybe I should have expected it to not actually be from scratch. She's usually really sweet and texts me a lot, but she hasn't been talking to me much the past few days, so I'm starting to feel like maybe I overreacted. Okay, so this story, I think it's kind of obvious who's the asshole in this story because his girlfriend went out of her way to make him some chocolates, which I know they're not, she didn't make them completely from scratch, but she still put in a lot of effort, even if she used like pre-made chocolate and caramel and fruit spread. Like, I think it's more so the thought that counts rather than the actual item. Because if she went out of her way to like melt the chocolate, mold it, and then add stuff into it and make it like her own chocolate, then that is basically hers. Like, she made it. Like, I do think it should just be like it should just be classified as hers. I don't know why he thinks it's not hers, like she didn't make it. It doesn't really make sense to me. And I mean, even if he gave him store-bought chocolate, I don't understand why he blew up about this because at the end of the day, it is the thought that counts. Like they're celebrating something and she just wanted to give him something as a gift like chocolate. I really don't understand why he got so upset when she was just trying to be nice and give him a gift. You know, I feel like he should have been more appreciative of that gift. And she did put in the effort. So I definitely think he's the asshole. Okay, but there's an edit for this. Edit for clarity. You guys are really upset about the way I talk and I just wanted to address it. She knows I call her my girl, she calls me her dude. She calls it a little waitress job too because it's basically just a side gig. How talk is not really the problem at all and I think it's strange that you're all so focused on it. Anyways, some others said my age and what I got her matters, so I'm 32 and I got her some old figurines she collects. Also, just to clarify, you guys seem to think she put a lot more effort into this than it sounded like she did from her explanation. I'm seeing people talking about thermometers and how hard it is to make chocolate melt, but she literally only used the microwave to melt it and she doesn't even own a kitchen thermometer, so I doubt she used one. Maybe everyone just isn't understanding when I say she's got really little experience cooking and didn't seem to put much effort into these. She literally just melted it in the microwave, poured it into molds, and then put stuff she bought inside of it. That doesn't sound like what you guys are saying homemade chocolates are done like. Some people have said I should make my own to see how hard it is, and I think I might because what you're all describing actually sounds hard, unlike what she did with the microwave and everything. Okay, so this edit kind of just makes it worse because he's trying to justify himself and he's trying to justify that they're not homemade or that they don't count as homemade. I still think even if all she did was put it in the microwave and then put it in a mold, she went out of her way and thought of it and she went out of her way to make it. Like she could have just easily gotten store-bought chocolates or bought something from a bakery, but she went out of her way to try to make something. Because he even said she has like very little experience cooking. So I think it's nice that she's starting somewhere. Like everyone starts somewhere, so I think it's nice she's starting somewhere and she's actually putting in the effort. I really don't understand his point of view still. And I also don't get why he's talking about making the chocolates, because even if he makes the chocolates, I don't think that's gonna like I feel like it's just gonna fuel his ego more because he's gonna talk about how hard it is. But I definitely think he's the asshole in this situation. I think he should be a lot more appreciative of his girlfriend because she did put in a lot of effort. Or I, maybe you can talk about how much effort she put in, but I still do think she put in effort and she did try to give him something nice and he kind of just blew up on her. I hope somehow he's able to change his mind and she's able to get things she deserves because I feel like this is something that could definitely break the relationship if he just doesn't say anything about it and he doesn't change his mind and he thinks he's right. I feel like this could be the end of the relationship. But there's no more edits, so the rest of it is just speculation. All right, the next story is, am I the asshole for ruining our anniversary because I asked to retake a few selfies? My husband, 30 male, and I, 28 female, just celebrated our 5-year anniversary. For some background, I'm plus size and I've struggled with confidence for a while, especially having 2 kids. My body has changed a lot and I haven't really felt attractive in a long time. Because of that, I tend to avoid pictures. My husband and I also aren't just big picture people in general. I honestly think it's been close to a year since we've taken a photo together. This anniversary felt important to me. 5 years of marriage, 2 kids, a lot of ups and downs, and it felt like something worth remembering. I actually put effort into getting ready. I did my makeup, fixed my hair, wore something I felt good in. For once, I genuinely felt pretty instead of just put together. Dinner went well. We were talking and laughing. Everything seemed fine. After we left the restaurant, I asked if we could take a few selfies in the parking lot. Nothing fancy, just something to remember the night. We took a couple pictures, but when I looked at them, I didn't love how I looked. I asked if we could redo them. We probably took them 1 or 2 more times. I'll admit I was being a little picky, but I wasn't trying to be difficult. I just wanted one picture where I felt confident. By the second retake, my husband started huffing, rolling his eyes and saying things like, "Come on," and "Seriously?" His tone made it clear he was annoyed. That immediately made me feel embarrassed and self-conscious. It kind of took me right back to feeling insecure again. I ended up saying, "Forget it, let's just go home." He then asked why I was mad and said he was taking the pictures like I asked him to. I told him it wasn't about the picture, it was about how he was acting like it was a chore. It turned into a heated argument in the car. When we got home, I shut down and went to bed because I didn't want to keep fighting. The next day he told me I ruined our anniversary night by dragging it out and getting upset over pictures. From my perspective, I just wanted one nice photo with my husband on a milestone anniversary, especially since I finally felt good about myself for once. I wasn't trying to start a fight, but his reaction hurt. So, am I the asshole for pushing to retake the picture and ruining our anniversary? I think I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I think in this situation, she is not the asshole because I think it's like self-image is something that's a really delicate topic. And when it comes to people feeling okay with themselves, it can be really hard, especially with the way you grow up or like how you've been looking the past few years or anything. And especially because she went out of her way to get ready, putting on makeup, and she actually felt good about herself. I I don't think it was wrong for her to try to retake the photos. And it doesn't even seem like she asked for that many photos because she said it was just a second retake when her husband started complaining. I feel like that's not even that much because I could see that happening too. Like maybe, like not in this situation, but like maybe you don't like how you're standing or your eyes are closed or you just don't like your smile. Like just those things would take you to 3 retakes. So I would understand her husband a little bit if it was a lot of retakes, like if they were continuously doing it for like 30 minutes to an hour or I don't know, just more retakes than this. I would understand him a little bit because then I can see how that might get annoying if you're just standing there. But it was only a few retakes and his wife was just wanting a nice picture to remember this. And I'm also sure, I mean, I don't know what goes on in their family or their lives, but I'm sure he knows how she feels about herself because I'm assuming they talk to each other about this kind of thing. So I'm assuming he should know that she feels this way. And I feel like he should have been more patient with her and he should have been more understanding. Now, I think this might be controversial because in the comments of this Reddit post, actually almost everyone was saying that she's the asshole. They're talking about how having to retake pictures just to get it right can be really tedious, which I can see, but like I said earlier, I don't even think she had that many retakes. There was just a few, right? And then someone else was talking about how it's not really about her, it's about her and her husband and that she made it all about herself. I mean, I don't think she did because it was only like after they had a whole dinner, they had like a whole day together and everything, and it was after the dinner where that happened. So I mean, they already had like a whole day together and she just wanted a photo of them together. I don't think that's a bad thing. And then there's a lot more people talking about how he didn't consider his feelings or that she let her insecurity ruin the night. I don't know. I feel like these people are being a little bit too critical because I can see, like, from her point of view, being insecure and wanting a good picture because you like did a lot of effort to look good and everything. I definitely don't think she's the asshole. I don't think her husband's the asshole in this situation either because he just wanted to enjoy the rest of the night, I guess. But I don't know. I think I think she could also be at fault a little bit just because she closed off so fast, but still, I think it's more the husband's fault because he should know how his wife feels about this and how she might be insecure and that she might just want more pictures because she wants to find one she looks pretty in to save the memory. But that's just my take on it. Let me know how you feel in the comments about this one. Am I the asshole for refusing to comfort my friend after her dog died? My friend 22 female told me that I 23 female was heartless and cold because I didn't validate her feelings. I've never been good at sympathizing with people. I have zero patience for what I consider self-pity and victim mentalities. Maybe a part of it is what I went through, a childhood full of literal torture, and it made me very independent with my feelings. My friend called me after her dog got put down, and I expressed minimum condolences. She told me she didn't want to talk about it and asked about the huge opportunity I had gotten the same day. I told her after some pressuring, but she failed to show much excitement. She was more upset that she couldn't go to the event because it's private. After the call, she texted me and apologized, saying she's a burden. She said she feels like she's failing because she wants to be the person that makes my day. I told her that's a ridiculous standard. She started saying she's starting to think she had a bad childhood because she has abandonment issues. I'll admit that comment hit a nerve. She had a normal upbringing besides divorced parents. She told me she's venting because her dog's death brought it out, which makes no sense to me, but okay. Then she asked me to be extra nice and requested me to send her a comforting text while she was taking a nap. I was also asked to be gentle towards her and baby her. I told her that I was sorry about her dog, but that I wasn't going to write long affirmations or validate her feelings, especially while I was at work. She told me that I was a heartless person and seemingly cold when I refused, which I feel like is not true. She seems to think I should lie to make her feel better. So, am I the asshole for not validating her feelings or comforting her truly? Uh, This is kind of a tough one. I don't know. This, the person who's posting, I feel like she should have been a little bit more nice to her friend, especially because her dog just died. I think she should have been a bit more sympathetic, but I mean, I understand because I guess she's not a sympathetic person. I mean, I don't think that's an excuse, but I don't know. I do think it's a bit interesting that she was trying to dismiss her friend's feelings about her childhood because she was saying how like her friend shouldn't have abandonment issues because all the only issues she thinks she had was like divorced parents. I think that's not something she should be saying, especially because she doesn't know what was going on behind the scenes and everything. But I don't think she's an asshole, but I think she should have been a bit more sympathetic. But I can also see how could have been a bit more tedious or burdensome for her because her friend was asking her to like baby her and to send her texts and stuff like that. I think that was a little bit too much. I don't think that's something you could just ask of someone. I think if someone offers it, that's nice, but I don't think it's something you ask someone for. I think it's something that you just get. I think that was a little bit of a outreach on her friend's part. I think something that could definitely have helped in this situation is just both of them communicating a bit better. I think the poster could have said something like, "Oh, um, I offer my condolences. I'm here for you if you need anything, but I'm not much of a sympathetic person," or I don't know, like just explaining how she is if her friend doesn't already know. She could have said something like that. Or she could have said something just like, "Oh, I'm sorry for your losses. I'm here for you if you need anything." But I'm really busy right now because she said she was at work and everything. She could just say like, "I'm really busy right now, so I can't really help you with anything else." And I think her friend could have also communicated better. She could have said more how she was feeling and what she needed from her friend. But yeah, that's my view on that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyways, that is the last story for today's video. Tell me what you guys think about all of them in the comments. If you agree with me, if you don't, it's completely up to you. These are just my takes on this. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.